So it's another day of lots going on. We've got Nigel here today, Andrew here, myself, Andy and Jack. So yesterday I didn't manage to film much of what I was doing and Andrew and I were doing because my hands were covered in epoxy and sanding and stuff, and there was just lots going on yesterday. Paul did a great job working on the engine. Nigel started welding in the keel box, which you will have seen. And Andrew and I have been sanding the hull, grinding some welds back and filling and fairing the waterline where they've shot blasted the epoxy off. So it's we've got lots of sanding to do, but we've started getting the filler on the bow, and we've got to sand that off this morning. And also where they shot blasted, there was quite a hard step along here, so that's all been sanded, and then we're just gradually blending it in. We've got to build up some more today, sand it off, build some more up and sand it off, and then hopefully tomorrow it should be ready for Andy and I to paint. Andy's been doing an amazing job running around helping everyone, and also he's been working on the mast. So it's been really fun, lots going on. Hopefully we'll try and get a bit more footage today. Hi, Jack.
'em back to me. Okay, we met a resistance here, and here's another reason why I've used stainless welding wire, and is because it's not going to break. Before I finish the job, what I'll do is, there we go, there's our VHF antenna, is I'll actually run 3 or 4 lengths of this stainless wire as permanent fixtures in the mast rather than string, because it's stainless so it won't rot, and we can leave them in there for future works. We good?
2 minutes, so we've got a nice tight fit up against the back plate. Yeah. There's no big gaps to weld then. Yeah. And then I've just got that one to trim. It's all a permanent fit, and that'll be the keel box replated then, just once welded.
Wonderful.
So a big step forward, I think.
Yeah, amazing. We've got Andrew doing an absolutely cracking job.
As you may have noticed, there's an awful lot going on at the boat. For the last few days I've been trying to trace the wiring on the mast, but with so much going on I've had to kind of dip into it and come back to it and dip into it. I'm going to try and dip into it again today, and my task today is to trace all of the wiring in the mast and label it all, and I've got a thingamy that Paul introduced me to trace the wires so that I can figure out what's what. Here is my new VHF antenna and Windex, and that's got its own cable, so that will definitely get replaced. Here is my flipping heck, Weems and Plath light fitting, along with the beautiful engraved plinth for it. And the other thing is this doobry, which I'm sure you all know what it is, but what it does, the cups spin and it tells you how fast the wind is blowing, and then this weather vane turns and tells you which direction the wind is blowing from, and that is displayed on the instrumentation which is out in the cockpit, which you saw me install and haven't yet wired up, and this is the ultra long cable for that. So there's an awful lot of stuff to wire up today. Some of it may keep the original wiring and some of it may not. Basically that stand goes on the top, and then this goes in. And this stuff I got from, along with all the instrumentation, a good friend of ours, Mike, who we've become very good friends with them, Mike and Jane. Melissa went and did her day skipper with them, and we've inherited a lot of the bits from their boat when they upgraded. So thank you very much, Mike and Jane, for all this stuff. So that's my job today, and you can watch and laugh, because I suspect what will happen is I won't get through any of it, because there's such a lot going on, with Andy helping Melissa with the sanding, filling, fairing, painting. Nigel's on the welding, and I'm trying to do these jobs and be there to be a dog's body for everybody else as well. So I may not get as much done as I hope. I've just measured out enough line to use, enough of that stainless wire for the length of the mast. Now what I've got to do is attach it to the other end of this old wire for the masthead unit, pull it all the way through and then pull the new one back. This is the one I'm replacing. I'm going to cut the end off because it's actually damaged here anyway. So I want to cut that off so it doesn't snag as I pull it out. Ooh, I've got an echo. That's really weird. I can feed that through there afterwards. I took the mast foot off the other day to clean it up and give it a fresh coat of paint and some fresh bolts and inspect all of the aluminium. It's all great. It's really good. But I'm hoping to get some new cable glands soon. I've got a stainless gooseneck for some of these wires, but some of them are going to need cable glands to go through the deck. There's all of the wires just coming out of the bottom of the mast instead of through these holes, which I'll put the glands back on. I think the first thing actually, before I run that cable through with the mousing line, is to strip out all of the old wires that we don't need for the old VHF and what have you. Here's my new VHF antenna. There's all the cable. I might pull a mousing line through because it's a shame to cut this because it might still work. I've got my mouse line attached. I'm just hoping now the mouse line doesn't come off this wire as I pull it through. Please, please stay attached. Come on. Ah, no, the mouse line's come attached. Oh, you swine. Right, we'll do it another way then.
Ooh, that was my foot. Right, yeah, go on. Yeah, it was my foot standing on the cable. Yeah. Just stop a second while I just unravel a bit. Get a bit more slack. Yeah, we're good. Right, do you want to pull the stainless back up?
Could do it. Yeah, pull it back.
And that way we're using the stainless to pull it through and not the string.
So this basically now goes like that. That just goes in there like that. Right. Threads in. That goes through there. Job done.
There's another bit on there. Oh, there.
Yeah, that's
there. You grab it. Yeah.
For now, I'm going to have to put the old cable glands back on, which is really irritating me, but we're on a bit of a tight schedule. But what would be ideal really would be to get new cable glands for, you know, all of these fittings for the top of the mast and for the deck, which I'll look into. But for now, I'm just going to clean up these old ones. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not broken. One or two actually have sheared, but we can work around that. But they'll do the job. And there you go. Manky old one, shiny sanded one. Absolutely fine. So these will go on for now, and I'll look at sourcing some better cable glands. And with my mousing line system made of stainless wire, pulling cables backwards and forwards is easy. It's easy.
Okay.
last year sometime, Eric, one of our followers, sent us this, which is a beautiful masthead light, and we're going to mount it, but we're going to mount it on this little plinth, which he also sent to us, which I don't know if you can see. It says, sailing melody, I'm Andy, I'm Jack. Oh, is that the right word? I'm Andy, I'm Melissa, and I'm Jack, sailing melody. So that's going to be our standoff, because we can't put the screws directly into the top of the mast because they've got to go in from the underneath. So this is our masthead unit, and it's got red, white, and green. Here is the cable that goes on the underneath, like this. There you go. So that screws on the underneath. But as you can see, the screws go in from underneath. So what we've got to do is mount it on this plinth and then screw the plinth to the top of the mast. So Jack and I are going to mess about with drilling holes and tapping threads into them. Wow. These are drill taps and they're very expensive. And what they do, I've already got one of them out of the box. They drill, oh, where's your camera? They drill and tap at the same time. And then when we get all the way through, very carefully, keep going and it will make a thread. You have to be super careful because they're very fragile, these, they're very hard steel. I'm using this stuff again that Eric sent us, which is ultra tough gel, corrosion limiter and anti-seize lubricant. And this is particularly good when you're putting stainless steel to aluminium, or you're assembling stuff with mixed metals or anything like that. Part of me wants to use thread lock to stop these coming off, but then there's the other side of me wants them to come off at some point when I want to do maintenance. So tightening those up with the Allen key. Nigel has been working on the keel box, so show us what's been going on with the keel box, Nigel, and explain what the process is here.
Well, if you remember back to the episode where it was all doom and gloom because we found so many holes in how bad the keel box was, we came up with the plan to reskin the inside of the keel box, and that's what we've been doing this weekend. And as you can see, it's reskinned all the way around.
Fantastic.
It's not welded yet, they're only tacked in, but they are absolutely butt up against the old keel box. So the idea now is this will be fully welded all the way around, all the way down, all the way underneath, and create a new watertight
box within a box.
Within a box, basically.
Fantastic.
We've got angle irons going on the bottom, underneath, and that will strengthen those corners and give extra strength, and also it gives you some protection in case you bottom out anyway.
Yeah, well the point of this boat is the ability to bottom out and take to ground.
Absolutely. So my next job now is I'm going to be going underneath with grinder and just tickling up underneath and fitting the angle irons to the underneath.
Fantastic.
The inside.
Absolutely fantastic.
But yeah, from all them weeks ago when we talked about doing the keel box and the skins are now in, so new skins, and it wasn't as bad as it wasn't that difficult, were it?
No.
There's a lot of cutting and trial fitting and
4 pieces of metal. Okay, these are split into half, so it's 6 pieces of metal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not actually that big a deal at all.
And I'm really pleased how it's fitted together.
Oh, so am I. Thank you. You know, it's looking amazing, and it's going to be incredible. Yeah.
This plate going on here, because of the way it was, it has actually left
too little clearance.
Yeah, so we're going to take a little bit off the top of the keel, replate that, so that it's a nice. It's not too. It'll be a bit snug, I think, from the measurements.
Well, yeah,
and
we'll take a few mil off.
In and out and making sure there's clearance, because we've got it's a fair lump to lift up in.
Oh yeah.
You know, and when we're taking what 20 mil off the top of the keel, it'll make no difference.
Yeah.
Won't make any difference to the keel.
Yeah. Rightio, cracking. That's brilliant.
Picked up some more fairing to do our No, we're on our second session. Second session. Yeah.
Go to the camera.
Once you've turned it off, you know what I mean?
Looks like it's gas.
Still a bit thin.
That's filling and fairing. Nigel is going to also show this amazing Cutlass bearing housing that he's made, which is this.
So that's your old Cutlass bearing
which
housing,
you've cleaned up.
which we've cleaned up and has come up beautifully. There's no cracks in it. It looks fantastic. And I've made a new plate because, as you know, right job getting that off. You had to cut the bolts off and everything. And some of them are still
nightmare.
seized in. So that you can see how corroded it is. That needs replacing. So it's got a nice new plate to weld on there. So that's going to get cut off. This cleaned up, and it can be welded onto there. The thing is, it dawned on me because I thought, if I can get that welded on this weekend while I'm here, you could be fitting the Cutlass bearing.
Right, yeah.
But we can't.
Because we haven't got the Cutlass bearing.
What I realised was to line that up, to try and weld that on there in exactly the right way
you need the
and
Cutlass.
angle. If you get it slightly out, getting your Cutlass bearing in there will be an absolute night.
And it'll just wear it out in seconds.
Yeah, because it won't be sat right. So what we need to do is, we'll take that off. Once you get the new Cutlass bearing, we'll mount it in that, we'll slide it on the shaft, and then we'll let it sit up against the pipe. That's when we'll tack that on into position, unbolt it, slide it back off and weld it, and it'll be in its natural place where it wants to sit then.
So we just need to measure, we've got the diameter of the shaft, which is 50 mil. We need to measure the length and the inside diameter and order a Cutlass bearing. They're about 100 quid. So they're not cheap things.
So that'll be the next time I'm down. Once you've got the Cutlass bearing, we'll line that up. We'll cut that.
I'll get that
we'll
ordered.
Clean that up, and then we can slide that up. Let them meet up where the Cutlass bearing feels it wants to be. Tack that up. Take it off. Weld it. Happy days.
Fantastic.
New bolt through there. Get a new stainless bolt in there.
Got loads of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And all this time we've hardly heard anything from Andy. Man a few words. I didn't even ask if he were.
Few actions.
Yeah, I didn't even ask if he was all right to be on camera, but it's a YouTube channel. So yeah, thank you very much, Andy, for your help. Yeah, been brilliant. And he's a wealth of knowledge in other areas I've discovered as well. So I'm going to be phoning him a lot for advice on electrical stuff, which will be really, really handy. We're reaching the end of another day. I've just been packing up. I'm making one last cup of tea, or coffee actually. And Nigel has announced he's leaving. Not forever, don't worry. So we're just going to say ta-ra to Nigel. Ta-ra. That's a very British thing, isn't it? You Yanks probably don't understand that. Thanks again, Nigel.
No problem.
Cheers, mate.
I'll see you soon when I come back for welding.
Yeah, you're hanging around for a cup of tea.
Have a cup of coffee. And
Cup of coffee, yeah.
We were just admiring,
Yeah, you
before
too.
Nigel goes, we were just admiring, if you look dead on, and it still needs a bit of sanding, but just the shape is just completely...
Yeah, apart from the fact that I welded in my forward bobstay chain plate a bit cockeyed.
Well, let's not point that out, darling.
Did you notice that, Nigel?
Surprised Nigel didn't go straight for it.
Yeah, it's slightly, but
It's fine.
when you're bobbing about, it'll go under the water. It'll be under the water
Most
most of
of the time, yeah.
No, it didn't even be...
Yeah. So there you go.
By the way, viewers,
A few people have
please,
suggested, before you disappear, Nigel and Andy, do you think there'll be an issue moving the bobstay chain plate back halfway along the bobstay so it doesn't foul the anchor so much?
It wouldn't be an issue.
I can't see it'd be a problem, would it?
No.
Just weld on another tab
Yeah.
and move the chain further back.
I mean, that's so heavy walled, that tube that you've used
Yeah,
for your bobstay, that is never going to...
it's never going to move.
It's never going to bend from that.
I honestly don't think it needs the chain at all.
No, but we'll...
We'll put the chain on and tension it up, and I'll just weld another tab on further back and move it further back. Right, lovely. Nigel, thanks very much.
No problem.
See you again very soon.
Traffic.
Legends.
Right, yeah, take care, mate. Bye bye.
See you later. I will do.
We've got another awesome Land Rover here today as well. Andy is about to depart. Are you about to depart?
Yep.
Yeah, Andy's about to depart. So thank you very much again. Andrew is also leaving us with his scaffold towers, one of which is our painting booth and one of which is by the boat, so we can actually work a little bit more safely. Is that yours as well?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
absolutely.
Right, thank you very much.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, and I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew,
See you now.
fantastic.